Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Skip Happens. My name is Skip Clark, of course, and your host, and welcome to a special pop-up episode of Skip Happens. Every now and then we get the chance to sit down with someone whose story is built on grit, heart, and a Western spirit. You're going to love this. Country music was founded on all of that, and tonight is one of those nights. Our guest has competed, correct me if I'm wrong, on national television. She has been honored by Cowgirl magazine. She has carried the traditions of Western life into every single song that she sits down and writes. And her journey is full of challenges, victories, and a whole lot of faith. And her music reflects all of it. She's the real deal. And we're going to get right into it. Please welcome singer, songwriter, Olivia Harms to the Skip Happens podcast. Olivia, it's so good to have you here tonight. How are you?
Oh my gosh, I'm good. Skip, thank you so much for having me. This is going to be so fun.
We're gonna have a good time. First of all, right off the top, where are you?
I am actually in my home. I just got home just a couple days ago, but I'm in Northern California.
Oh, holy crap!
I
But
know.
you
I'm like
weren't.
worlds away from you.
You're like, what's that? 3 hours. So
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's only 5 here. We got all
all right,
night ahead of us.
and we're on the East Coast, so it's 8 o'clock here. So
Yeah.
yeah, now I get. I thought, oh, maybe she's in Nashville, maybe she's in Texas. 1 or 2 hours behind. I had no idea that you were actually in California. So
I know. I'm a West Coast girl, man. And even though I do love my Nashville and I love my Texas, I'm a West Coast girl.
there you go. When you say West Coast, what's the name of the town? Where are you?
We are in a tiny town. So I moved to California because of my husband. I
Okay,
got myself a California cowboy, and our town is called Vina. I'm sure you never heard of it because it's about
never heard of it.
175 people. It's
No.
small. It's small. There's way more cows than there are people in our town, Skip.
So that Olivia, let me ask you this before we get into the heart of this whole podcast here. If I was to drive into your town, what's the first thing I'm going to see? Is there even a Chick-fil-A or is there a Buc-ee's or anything like
Ain't
that?
no Chick-fil-A, but like any good cowboy small town, we do have a steakhouse.
Okay.
And so we could get you a good steak. And then to another one of my favorite things, we have a winery. So we've got a
Ah,
steakhouse, a winery, and then a little convenience shop and a post office. And that
that's all
pretty
you
much
need.
sums up our town. Yeah, that's it.
That's all you need. Well, I mean, you got to have a little. You got to have a grocery store. You
Oh,
have.
yeah, the convenience. I wouldn't say that if you need anything other than maybe like the limited essentials, I think then you should probably try to drive into like Chico or Red Bluff, and those are each like 20, 30 minutes away.
I was going to
So
ask which way, probably in each direction, depending on what you feel like doing, where you're
that's
going.
right. Wherever you want to point the rig.
Yeah. For anyone discovering you for the first time, how would you describe who Olivia Harms is?
Well, I grew up on a ranch in Oregon, so that's where I'm originally from. The ranch has been in my family since 1872, so 150 years. So all
Yeah.
my ancestors, everybody that I grew up with, we all have this deep ranching in our veins because it's what we've done forever. Cow, calf, beef, cattle. We make the
Mhm.
steaks. And I grew up like that. My mom is a wonderful musician, so I grew up with like the ranching and the music, and then no wonder I turned into a country western musician myself. So I think you take all of that and you mix it with the fact that I lived in Nashville for 3 years. I pursued
Okay.
songwriting and the music business in Nashville. Then COVID shut me down there, so I went back to the ranch, and then I got tired of sitting in Oregon because love the West Coast, but they weren't the first to recoup after COVID and open their doors. So then I said, well, heck with that. I'll go down to Texas. And so then I lived in Fort Worth, Texas for
Okay.
four or
That's a
five
big town.
years.
Yeah.
Yep, big town, big town. They love real honky tonk music there. And then, now I'm in California. So you mix the honky tonk, the cowboys, a little bit of like the West Coast Bakersfield and Nashville together, and you get
Yeah.
Olivia Harms.
So, where did you meet your California cowboy?
I met him at a music festival. Where else does a
Really?
musician meet her husband?
I guess. I mean, does he have anything to do with your band or his
Not
anything
at
like that? No,
all.
not at
No,
all. Huh?
sir. He's as man as they come.
I love
He's a
that.
cowboy himself. So we have a ranching operation here in Northern California, and then he has a welding business. So he
Oh
builds
wow.
flatbeds and bumpers, and
Mhm, mhm.
yep,
Yeah,
he's all boy.
I love that. So, your mom is it Joni?
Joni.
Joni, and she's in the Country Music Hall of Fame.
She is.
How cool
She
is
is.
that?
It's so cool. I mean, I'm really lucky to have had her. She's been such an inspiration. And a lot of times people will say, well, how was that? Was did you feel a lot of pressure with having a very successful musical
Mhm,
mama, or did she push you into it? Or, you know, I'll get questions like that. And it's totally the opposite. I've been so fortunate to have her and have like a sounding board whenever I
mhm,
have new
yes.
music or need advice, or even when I've been going through things in my
Mhm,
career, whether they're good
mhm,
or bad,
mhm.
she really knows exactly what I'm going through because she's been there.
And how that it's gonna make it so easy. You know what I
It
mean? Just to
does.
have somebody to fall back on like that, that can at least maybe point you in the right direction or give you some good advice, especially as your mom.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. She's not only my mom, she's like, you know, the greatest advice, like you say. Because if you're saying, Mom, what am I going to do? Where do I choose to invest my money next since I'm an
Mhm,
independent artist? Or what do I do, you know, with this song? Maybe I feel like it needs to go somewhere. She really gets it. She truly does because she's lived it.
mhm, absolutely. Olivia, when was the moment that you knew music wasn't just something you loved, but something you had to go after?
You know, I wish I had a great memory of that because my very first show was actually 2 days old. My mom was playing at the Portland Speedway, and she was supposed to share the stage with Clint Black, Ricky Skaggs, Lori
Mhm,
Morgan, all
mhm,
these great
mhm.
country music artists.
Sure.
And she was due with me, and I hadn't arrived yet. So she goes into her doctor, who's luckily a country music fan, and she said, "Look, doc, I got to have this kid so I don't miss the gig." And sure enough, that's what he said. "All right, you come in, we'll induce labor, you get the kid on the ground." And
And
my
2
first,
days
yeah,
later,
2 days later, she's like, "Look what I did the other day." So
that's crazy.
yeah, I mean, I wish I had like a
Oh my
distinct
gosh.
memory of knowing that this is what I was put on earth to do, but I really
Mhm.
just grew up around it. I went
Uh,
on the road with her. I remember singing I Want to Be a Cowboy Sweetheart probably at like
oh
3 or
my
4
gosh.
years old. I just loved it, and I always like saw how happy she was able to
Mhm,
make people, and have people say, "Joni, my one of my family members just passed, and Sing You Here Tonight," or this song that you wrote, you've helped me through such a hard time. And, you know, see them just connect with music and it
mhm.
brings them joy. And I thought, boy, the world's a hard enough place as it is. If I can make someone happy, then that's what I want to do.
There you go. And I mean, do you have pictures of does your mom have like a photo album and there she is holding you on stage and look what popped out of me 2 days ago and here
I
I
know.
am on the stage.
Ta-da! Like
I
straight
know.
out of the chute.
That
Yeah,
is
she does.
awesome.
She's like, yeah, you didn't have a choice. You just
Girl,
came along with
that's
me.
so awesome. I didn't know that. That is
Yeah,
so
she's
awesome.
she's a tough cookie, if you will.
I love
I
it. I
don't
love it.
know.
Do you get back to Nashville very often?
I do. I try to spend a lot of time there. You know, it's been a little
Mhm.
bit sparse over the last couple years, but
Yeah.
in 2025, I've been able to spend a bunch of time there. I've already got a trip planned for 2026 in January. So there's still a lot of things that I go to Nashville for. Some of the best songwriters are there,
Mhm.
the best
Oh yeah.
recording
Oh yeah.
producers, all of that, and that's really where the industry is. So
Mhm.
you know, I've never had the mindset that I don't want to be involved in Nashville. It's just you got to get there, and my life hasn't
And
allowed
no,
me
I
to move
totally get
there.
it. I totally get that.
Yeah,
Have you been to CRS at all? The Country
I
Radio
haven't.
Seminar. See, that's in March.
I know. It's on my bucket list, so I'd
You
really
should
like
go.
to
You really
go.
should go. But you know, you're already a step ahead from a lot of others. Of course, you've been doing this for a little bit as well, but definitely it would be to your advantage to go. I
No,
mean,
it's on my bucket list.
yeah,
I'd love to go, so maybe I'll have to make that happen this year.
yeah. Tell me about the television on national TV. Oh, that's a massive stage. And
Crazy.
what was going
So
through your head the
crazy.
very first time you stepped on that? On
I
that,
couldn't I couldn't believe it was real, you know? Like it was
yeah.
such a shock anyways. I didn't audition for it. I
Hmm,
didn't
hmm,
know that the show was even a thing. So then to basically get a cold call from Taylor Sheridan is
hmm.
what happened to me
Love Taylor.
and say, "Do you think you'd be interested in a show I'm putting together with Blake Shelton? I'd like to get you in touch with my casting producers." And so
Mhm.
one thing led to another. And then, you know, I'm on this stage with 11 amazing country musicians and opening for Keith Urban. And I mean, just pinching myself really
Oh
and
my
counting my
gosh.
blessings that I somehow was able to get recruited and cast because like I said, it wasn't an audition process. They
No,
sought
it's just
out 12 out of the United States and said, "We think you're all
yeah,
right. Do
we
you want
want
to come
you.
be on this
They're like,
show?"
we
I
want you.
know.
Yeah, you
I was
gotta
like,
love
I
that.
don't know. I'm eventually going to wake up from this dream and
You don't
realize
want to
it's
wake
not.
up. No, no, you're not gonna wake
No.
up. Just keep it
I
going, baby.
know. That's right.
Has television, did it teach you any lessons about, the rest of the industry can't? TV does certain things, and
Right.
being on that side of it, has that taught you any lessons?
I think that I was very authentic the whole time that I was on TV or, while they were filming. And that was my biggest goal was to just be totally authentic in who I
Mhm,
am and, you know, unapologetically so. And so I think the best thing I learned from it is that I'm glad I did that. I'm glad. And I think I need to do more of that because I think watching it back, watching
mhm,
what the
mhm.
producers and, the film crew were able to capture. I think some of the moments that fans have connected to the most have been the ones where I kind of was like, "Oh, I can't believe I said that," or "Oh, that might have been a little bit just too real." Because sometimes in this industry, you feel like you need to put on a show or just be put together or be the entertainer all the time, and maybe not show weakness or the parts of us that are a little quirky. And
Mhm,
it was
mhm.
really neat to see that I think people relate to real, authentic you know not always put together, not TV ready more than we imagine.
This is Skip Happens, and it happens. And
It
so, I mean,
totally
the
does.
more real that you can be, the
Yep.
more people are gonna love it, and they're gonna go,
Oh, it's
"She's
so
just like
true.
me. She's just like
Well,
me." You know what I mean?
I think the best thing that I ended up saying on TV was, Blake Shelton was asking me about ranching, and I said, yes, I still do, production
Mhm.
ag, and we still raise beef cattle. And then he said, do you work the cows, or do you just live there? And I said, no, I work. And when we do brandings or we're processing or whatever, I usually have a job, and most of the time I'm on the vaccine gun. But once in a while they do put me to work, and I have done other things. And I got to talking, and eventually it slipped out that I said I do know how to castrate. And of course, that's what they chose to put on national TV
Of
is this little
course.
clip of Olivia being like, "I can castrate if you need me to."
But you know what? That'll get everybody's attention, and that's what you want. That's what it's
That's
about.
right. That's right. If
Exactly.
that doesn't get attention,
So,
then boy, I don't know what would.
it's kinda led into what I was gonna ask, but you kind of explained it right there that, when people watch that on TV, for the most part, they're getting a polished version.
Right.
But, this is like, yeah, that went on TV, but there's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes that people, would never believe, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, there's definitely parts of, the process where they filmed it and then
Mhm.
no one ever gets to see it. Like our first performance, there was we each did a cover song, and that got totally cut out of, the finished
Really?
product. Nobody
Okay.
saw the first episode cover songs. There was also some like gatherings and just little things. I know that they get a lack of time that they
Mhm,
can
mhm.
crank out. If you get 90 minutes, you got to be really careful what you put in that 90 minutes, and
Yeah,
something's
yeah,
going to
it's
have to
true.
go. But it was interesting to see what they picked from all the footage that they got.
Wow. Interesting. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
crazy. Why do you think, oh, they must have cut that out because of time?
I think so. I think that they just said, you each did two songs. They started with 12. So that's 24 songs. And each
Mm,
song was really like
mhm.
put down into a condensed version. I think we were only on stage opening for Keith maybe 3 minutes because each song, our original and our cover, had been condensed to a minute 30 each. So that's about
Mhm.
3 minutes. And then you have 12 entertainers. So, I mean, that's still, even though the songs are shortened, it's still a pretty lengthy
Yeah,
bit of
yeah.
time.
So you're working on the ranch and you have the
Working on the
cattle
ranch.
and you have the
Yes.
cattle. Did you say they were beef cattle?
Beef cattle.
Wow. Do you ever get attached to some of the cattle? I mean, the
Yeah,
little ones, they're so adorable.
they are pretty adorable. I got attached whenever we have like bottle calves or leppy calves, we'll call them sometimes, the ones where their moms don't want them or something
Mm,
awful
mhm,
happens. And
mhm.
then it's on you to bottle feed them and be the mama. And those are pretty cute when they get excited to see you every day. And those ones are really hard
Aw.
to let go of. So you always hope that it's a heifer, girl, a cow. So then you can, it has a purpose going for. Sometimes you can't always keep
Yeah.
the boys, but when it is hard, I think you just try really hard not to think about it, and then know
Mhm.
like your good
Right,
part in the
right,
world,
right.
feeding the world, and try to focus on the pot. I don't want to be around on
Oh.
shipping day most of the time. I'll go run errands
Yeah,
in
I
town
I
or
I wouldn't
something.
wanna be there. It just I love animals. And
too.
even with the cattle, we know it's a way of life and the beef cattle, and I'm a steak eater. I totally get that, but I don't know. I still find it hard. Still find it
It
hard.
is
So
hard. It is
yeah.
good to see where they come from, though. I think that's a really is when you look out there and you see they have like humane,
Mhm, mhm,
perfect
mhm.
life. They're happy out there. They're happy. All those things going into your body is a happy, healthy cow. If we
Mhm.
didn't browse, then we wouldn't have steak. So it's kind of reassuring to be like,
It's
this
true.
is how it was meant to be. They have a really good life, and then we get something good to eat at dinner time.
Yeah. Yeah. Any horses?
We do have a couple horses. Yes,
Okay.
and that's always so fun. We have a couple horses. We have three cow dogs between the two of us, my husband and I. I came with two cow dogs, and he came with one, and so now we're a blended family. And I have to go like 3 miles a day to just to keep these dogs worn out because they're such high energy creatures. But
Yeah.
but
What
we've
it's
got
so
to.
you call
I
them? I
love
mean, I
them.
know we're off the music. I told you we'd go down a road.
I love
Um,
it.
but we're off the subject of the music for just a few minutes. But cow dogs? What?
Cow
What?
dogs.
So
Yeah.
is that their breed? They're called cow
Well,
dogs.
we have three different breeds, but they're all
Okay.
of like the cow dog variety. So we have one red border collie, and then I have
I got
a
you.
blue heeler Australian Shepherd cross,
Oh wow.
and then I've got a border collie Catahoula cross. So
Yeah.
they're all really good for herding cows and moving cows, but they all have a
I
little
love
something
it.
different
I
in
love
them.
it. What are
Yeah.
their names?
Mine are Luna and Elmer, and
Okay.
then my husband brought in Sam. So
Sam.
so now we've got Luna, Elmer, and Sam.
Sam.
Yep.
Sam. I did a thing on air
Sam,
today. I
Sam.
was talking about I think it was the top 10 pet names for dogs. I mean, Reba and Whalen and Nashville was on there. I mean,
Oh, really?
names like that. Yeah, I thought that was interesting. That's why I asked you, what their names were. I was just kind of curious if there's
Yeah,
any.
you hear
So that's
some
kind of
really
cool.
unique ones. And then there's lots of buddies and I mean, all those ones that are so common, but
Mhm.
but
Tell me
yeah, we
about,
have
oh, I'm sorry.
no, we have a good time with them.
Awesome. Tell me about, when you were recognized by Cowgirl magazine. That's a huge, big time nod to who you are in the Western culture.
Yeah.
And what did that honor mean to you?
I got notified I was gonna be last, I think of 2022. So this is a couple
Mhm.
years back and just incredible because they hosted it in the big ceremony gala. They
Uh,
had it at the Drover. So if there's folks familiar, Drover is
mhm,
a pretty
mhm.
bougie hotel, and you just feel like amazing to be 29 women who are really movers and
Love that.
shakers in culture of the West. They're really making things happen. You have a musician, uh,
Mhm.
to female veterinarians, females that are in markets, that are in the Houston rodeo. You have all sorts
Yeah. Yeah.
agricultural farmers from the Middle East that
Mhm,
are
mhm,
doing
mhm.
that, and really really neat to see the diversity and then be able to meet all these new sisters and have
It's
throughout
so
the
cool.
cowgirl industry for sure.
Yeah. Cowgirl magazine, of course, a type of magazine that definitely celebrates strong, authentic women. Um, and who in that world inspires you, by the way?
Oh man,
Tough
there's so
question, I know.
many. Yeah, it is a tough
Yeah,
question because there's so many. The instinct answer is my mom, but a
sure.
second one for me is my hat sponsor. Her name is Shorty, and she's
Okay.
in the Cowgirl Hall of Fame, which is next level because they're just
Mhm.
cowgirl 30 under 30 on steroids. You look at those women and you're like, wow, they have really made a difference in the world. And she started out making hats in Oklahoma and really just kind of started with nothing. She bought a hat shop from an old guy in just a little tiny small town. And now she makes the best hats in the world and they're highly sought after. And
Love it.
all of the big horse people want to have one of hers. And so to see what she's made out of herself is something that I really strive
Mhm.
to do.
Got it. What was, off the top of my head, I'm just thinking a certain question here. Um, what was the very first song you ever wrote?
First song I ever wrote, it was probably about my hometown.
Mhm,
I remember coming home from school, and I knew ever since I was a little kid that this is what I wanted to do. And I thought, I'm gonna have to have a song about where I'm from, because if people are gonna be kind enough to listen to me, they
mhm,
probably want to know what my story is, or want to know who the heck
mhm,
is Olivia
mhm,
Harms. So I'm lucky, not you can't do this with every small town, but Canby, Oregon, you can kind of turn that into a hook and say you can be whatever you want to be and can be. That was
mhm.
my little idea from my early songwriting brain. And I went up and I worked on it a couple days after school, and kind of thought I had maybe made a good song. And I remember going downstairs to my mom's office and knocking on the door and saying, "Would you
Oh,
happen to have a couple minutes to listen to this new song I wrote?" And of course, she sits down and is all excited. And
oh my
I get
gosh.
through it, and I was nervous, right? I was like, here's my mom. She's so good, and she's gonna have some sort of
Mhm,
critique or
mhm.
advice on what I should change. And instead, I got to the end, and she just said, "That's a really good hook. I wish I would have thought of that myself."
See, that's it's in the family.
I I
Your
guess
brain
so.
was already in that mode. How old can I ask approximately how old were you?
I think I was 10 or
10?
11.
Okay, alright. Do you still
Yeah.
play that song?
Oh yeah, I still have people that come up and request it, and it just
I
tickles me
love
because
it.
they'll be like, "Do you still play that Canby song?" Yeah, I'm still proud to be have Canby be my hometown, so
Oh
we'll
my
whip it
god, I
out.
love that. I love that. I talk to a lot of artists, and when I ask that question, they'll go, "Oh, yeah, yeah, I wrote this song," and I'll go, "Do you remember it?" And they'll go, "Yeah, but I don't want to," or they're like, "It was so bad," but
Yeah.
but wow, that's pretty awesome.
You
That's pretty awesome.
definitely progress, you should, right? Like you shouldn't just be stagnant in your songwriting. So now
Yeah.
that have been in it for over 15, 20 years, I
Yeah.
guess,
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
um I'm glad that I've gotten a little bit better. But for a first song, I still not too bad. It's got all the little pieces and parts, and
Mhm,
it's
mhm.
catchy. People sing along, so it can't be that bad if it's
So,
catchy.
now what would be your latest project right now?
Yeah, I've been doing a ton of writing this fall.
Okay.
It's been really good to get back into
Mhm.
it and just feel re-inspired after, the show and being a part of the road. And so I've got quite a few new songs that I'm taking to Nashville in 2026 and putting together
Yay.
my third album, which is crazy to think about, but very
Mhm.
exciting. So, definitely some great new tunes. The most recent one I finished was kind of like a reinvented Ghostwriters in the Sky. I used to love that song,
Oh, yeah.
and there's not another one like it. I felt like it needed
Mhm.
another chapter, or like a story from the woman's point of view that maybe dated one of the ghostwriters. And so that's what we've been working on.
I love that. So, what I've seen and heard, your songwriting is both personal and cinematic. What inspires your writing these days?
It all has to come from at least a little bit of a true story or a true place,
Mhm,
whether I'm taking it from one of my friends, or, something that I've seen while I've been traveling, or a real experience. And like for one of my songs, example is Hey There Cowboy. I used to
mhm.
take a bunch of my girlfriends with me when I'd go play at the beer gardens after rodeos, and they'd go wander around and have fun, and I'd be up there with the band
Love it.
working. And then I'd get done and they'd come over and they'd say, "Oh my gosh, we've heard some of just the most ridiculous pickup lines tonight, and you wouldn't believe it." And I would
Mhm,
always say,
mhm.
"Yeah, these guys, they got to learn. That's not working so well for them. How did it hurt when you fell? No."
Oh my gosh.
So finally I was just cruising through Nashville,
Mm,
and I was like on the end of a really long writing day, and I was just thinking I better, just play around with this idea about what would I say, or what would my friends
mhm,
and I say
mhm.
if a boy came up to us and, "Hey there, cowboy, what's your name? I'm not into playing any games." And so I took a little video of it and sent it to my girlfriends and was like, "Here's a joke for you. And, listen to this one." And they said, "You got to finish that, Liv. Like you
Mhm.
have to finish it." And so I'm really thankful that I went on and took their advice, because that song's done pretty good for me.
I was listening to that just a little bit ago. I was just looking on my phone here to see if I still had it up, but I didn't have it
Yeah,
up. I was going to play a little clip of it. So, but definitely good stuff. That was like I think the video was 5 years ago.
I
That was,
know. Yeah,
can you
time
believe it?
flies.
Yeah,
It's
time does fly.
crazy.
Time does fly.
Oh, and then sometimes trying to juggle everything as an independent artist, it does get to be tricky. And that's why I've been really excited to get back into songwriting just this
Mhm,
last
mhm,
fall,
mhm.
because you get so busy with trying to stay up on social media. You get busy with trying to book your own gigs, be the planner, be the manager,
Yep,
make sure you have
yep,
merch,
yep.
be all the things. And then before you know it, you're out of time and you're trying to figure out what you should do next.
All that being said, though, are you very happy being an independent artist? Because if you weren't independent and you were signed with a major label, you'd have other people doing a lot of that for you. But then again, there's a lot of financial responsibilities that come with that. That it's not cheap. So
Right.
yeah.
I think I'm so blessed that I've been able to do
Hmm.
something for a living that I love so much, and I'm able to
Exactly.
make a very good living at it.
Hmm. Hmm.
But I wouldn't be upset to let go of the reins a little bit one day and have somebody help me out if it was the right match and if I found
Yeah.
the right label or somebody that really got the kind of music that I make and they were willing to help me.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
would be really happy to maybe just let go of a little bit. Let somebody else do most of the booking and stress about that. Maybe have somebody else with a little bit of, label with some funding so I could make more music and put it out quicker and get to
Hmm.
radio stations. Because even just to promote a single in Texas as an independent artist, it's
Yeah.
usually about 4 to 5 grand a cut, and that's just
Oof.
independently.
See,
So
a
then
lot of
that
people don't
runs for
realize that. Yeah.
no, and I
Yeah.
mean the single runs for maybe 30 weeks if you're lucky. And
Yeah.
then you're gonna have to do another one. So,
Yep.
and then you gotta stay up with the recording. And usually each time that you record a side, that's at least 4 to 5 grand again per single if you want to get it recorded properly and sound good. And so it's just kind of like this never-ending amount of where do you put your money and what should you invest it
Who
in?
do you
And
trust?
for sure,
You know
for
what I mean?
sure.
So,
And
yeah,
nobody is gonna work as hard as you. That's the one thing I've
exactly.
learned.
It's kind of where
Yep.
I was going because that would be it has to be you.
It does.
You have to
Yeah,
have
whether you
control
like
over
it or
that.
not.
Yeah.
I
It's
know.
a lot of
I
work
had
though.
to it is, but it's worth it if you get to, have success and every little nugget that you kind of latch onto and you say, "Wow, all of this hard work that I've put in,
Mhm.
and I guess it was worth it because I got to this level." And then you look ahead and you say, "Wow, I got to get up here."
Yeah, but you're
And
getting
then
there. You're going.
that's right, step by step. That's right,
Step by
Skip.
step, one fan at a time. You just keep building that, baby. Just keep doing
That's
that. I
right.
mean,
You just keep going.
I've been watching it and I've been in radio for quite a while. And I see a lot of artists like you, and I see that. And I always say it's one fan at a time. It's just a step at a time. Don't try to do too much too quick. Just build it. You've been doing it for a
Yeah.
while. I get that. And you also got the background, you get the family background, which is all pretty cool. A lot of people do not. But you're very lucky with that. And of course, knowing your mom and who she is, that's pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome. So
It's not been a bad life so far, so I can't
God
complain. We
bless
hope
you.
to get up here, but
Mhm,
it's been
mhm.
pretty
I
good
get it.
so
I
far.
get it. Well, so in California, what's the weather like right now?
Yeah, it was kind of chilly today. We had a lot of fog. I took the dogs on my, 3 mile adventure like I do every day, and
I was gonna.
it was
All
kind of
right.
chilly, and we had to
Okay.
put the coat on, and but it
All right.
wasn't
All
too
right.
bad.
Hold on, Olivia. When you say chilly, what do you mean by
Hmm.
temperature?
I think with like the fog and the moisture in the air, I think it was around like 45.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Ooh. All right. Never mind. I thought it was like a little bit warmer because that's basically what it was here in the Northeast today.
yeah.
But we're talking about snow right after Thanksgiving, and we're talking anywhere from 3 inches to a couple feet, depending on where you are. So
Oh my gosh, are you
yeah,
ready
I
for
know.
that?
I, I've lived here all my life.
Yeah, it gets old news. I know what to
We
do.
I don't know if you know this or not, but we have what they call lake effect. Lake effect.
Yeah.
That's where the cold air blows across the lake. And in my neck of the woods, it's Lake Ontario. So when the cold air comes across the warmer waters, it snows. And we'll get a foot of snow in one night. And I'll
Jeez.
still hear the school buses going by in the morning. I mean, we've got the equipment around here to handle it. The men and women that go out and do what they got
Yeah.
to do. And other places like Nashville, for example, they get a dusting of snow. It's closed.
Oh my
Mm,
gosh, isn't
I
that
mean,
so true? Even in Oregon, a lot of places,
yeah, yeah,
they'll just panic out and say, "We're done."
yeah. Oregon or Oregon or Oregon. Or you say
Oregon, like
Oregon.
what you got in your body.
Oregon. I love that.
Oregon.
Oregon. Where are you from? Oregon. I
Yeah, how
see.
about what's the other ones that always gets folks? Salmon.
salmon. We have
Mm-hmm.
the salmon. We have the salmon
Okay.
river.
Yeah, so
Uh,
you guys got it. I've heard
yeah,
salmon a lot of times.
salmon.
Salmon.
Ah,
And that
okay,
one always gives you a
okay,
little bit of a
okay.
ugh.
I got it. I get it. I get it. I get it. No, I guess we say Syracuse because
Okay.
obviously that's where I am in Syracuse. But
Syracuse.
that was good. That was
I
good.
have
Look
been
at you.
told that I have like a mix of, I don't know if it's an Oregon thing, but I have been told I have a mix of like up north and then like southern accent. And I don't know how that works together or where it come from, but
I don't
that's
know.
what I've been
I don't.
told.
I think it sounds pretty good. I don't hear the southern accent. Maybe a
Okay.
little bit, very very little, but
Maybe it depends on what region I'm in and how different they think I am.
it could be right. Tell me a little bit about your band. Are they still what the Roadrunners?
The Roadrunners.
Yeah.
Yes.
So this is the same bunch of guys that you play with right along.
Oh man, yeah, I've been
Yeah.
with the Roadrunners for a while, and I
Okay.
got so lucky and so fortunate to find them. You'll have to listen to this. This is I found two brothers, and one of them plays fiddle, and one of them plays steel guitar. So two of the most,
Wow.
unique instruments, and they both
Mhm.
play, and they're both extremely talented, and they're good boys. I'm not rolling them out of bed at 8 in the morning when we're hitting the road to the next place. They stay clean. They're good boys, and we all look out for each
Excellent.
other, and
Excellent.
so I'm really lucky.
So
They'll go with me to Vegas, and that's our next little run.
oh, you're doing the Vegas run.
We are.
All right. Where about you go? Are you going to see any shows while you're there? For example, are you going to go to the Sphere and
I
see?
don't know. I've heard about the Sphere. I don't know if I'm gonna have time to go, but I
Yeah, I
have
know it's
seen
got to be
it.
crazy.
Looks incredible.
From what I've seen, it looks incredible.
Yeah, yeah. We're going for the National Finals Rodeo,
I
and
was just going to
so
mention the rodeo. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, lots of folks know what it is, but
Yeah.
just in case there's some listeners that don't know, it's like the Super Bowl of rodeo,
Hmm.
and it happens for 10 nights, and that's where the top 15 from each event, bull bull riding, steer wrestling, barrel racing, all of it, the top 15 from all year long, they compete for the number one spot in each event and
Are
see
you
who's
a
going to
big
get the gold
fan of
buckle.
that, or are you going? Are you a big fan as well as will you be performing?
Both. So
Okay,
I'm a big rodeo girl.
gotcha.
That goes hand in hand with,
Yeah,
ranching and
yeah, yeah. I
rodeo,
kind of
cowgirl
figured.
stuff.
Yeah,
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 I know.
yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't take a scientist to figure that one out. But I also am playing. I'm playing a couple nights at the Westgate Hotel and
Hmm.
Casino, which is where they have a lot of watch parties that they'll call them. As not everybody can go to the Thomas and Mack and get their tickets to watch live every night, but they do a lot of watch parties and live streams. So I'm playing at that. I'm playing at a big event for Montana Silversmiths,
Sweet,
playing at like a pre-party at Thomas and Mack. So there's all
sweet.
sorts of stuff going on
Just going on nonstop, back to back to back.
nonstop. Yeah, no
Are you
rest.
driving because it's really not a bad drive from California to Vegas.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a terrible drive, but I think it would still probably take about 8 or 9 hours from where we're at. And so I think since my husband's going to come with me and, I can put a bunch of my stuff in his bag. I'm sure he'll love that. We'll fly down and it'll be a little
He's
bit
got the backpack. You got the
easier.
two suitcases.
That's exactly right,
I
Skip.
know how that
You
goes.
must know how that is.
I know exactly how that is. I can stay for a week and live out of my backpack. As long as I have underwear, socks, a couple pairs of jeans, some t-shirts, I'm good to go. My
The
deodorant, my toothbrush,
essentials.
I'm good. I'm good.
You're good.
You know what I mean? I'm good.
Yep.
Now my wife, on the other hand, 4 or 5 pairs of shoes to say the least, the makeup bag
That's
alone.
right.
You got, I can go on and on and on.
I
Yeah, it
know.
gets
Well, she
crazy.
sounds
I
like
know.
she's got it figured out. We'd be
She
friends.
does. She does. She's a good woman. She's got it all
Mm.
figured out. Um, let's talk about, you've talked openly about your faith and about
Yes.
staying grounded. How has your faith guided you through moments in this industry? And especially you as an independent. You know it's tough. You were telling me how tough it can be, but how has that guided you?
I think especially in either time, lows or highs, because this industry, as rewarding as it can be, it really
Mhm,
is filled with lots of mountains and lots of valleys where as soon as you get up here and maybe you get a call that you're going to be on the road, like as soon as I got that call that they were even remotely interested in me, I remember I went to my knees and I was
mhm,
just thanking the
mhm.
Lord that if I got this opportunity, that I would try to shine his light and do him proud and
Mhm.
let other people know how wonderful he is. And then you get through it, and then you have to wait and you have to sign the NDA. Or, I got sent home, and I, of course, because I'm a dream chaser, wanted to stay on the show longer. And
Mhm.
you wonder, like, why didn't it happen? How come it didn't? How come, I got all built up down here, and then it was time to get sent home. And I think your faith really does help you get through those things, because in your heart, and you can trust in God that he's got a bigger plan for you. And if something
Mhm.
doesn't work out,
Mhm.
then he's got something better in the
Mhm.
future. And that has happened to
Absolutely.
me so many times, where I'll say,
Absolutely.
why didn't this come to fruition? And then, just down the pipe a little ways, after you've kind of been upset or sad or bummed or whatever your emotion was that one thing didn't work out, you really see in God's time that what he had planned was
Mhm.
way better than what you could have
Mhm.
ever
Mhm.
imagined.
It kind of the question I was going to ask, and you just kind of answered it, was when there was there a time, that when you thought maybe this isn't going to work, and
Oh,
then
yeah.
faith, family, fans kept you going? I know you're just talking about faith, what you believe in, and he's there, and if that didn't work, something else is going to work. I mean, that's the whole reason.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's been many times, especially in music business. I think anytime that you go off the beaten path and you pursue a career that isn't maybe
Mhm.
normal in today's society, I don't think it's just music. I think there's lots of people that could relate to this. It's just harder. I'm responsible for my income. There's
Mhm.
nobody out
Mhm.
there
Yeah.
that is gonna pay me from 9 to 5 because I show up. Like, I've had months where, when I was living in Texas, the electric bill is crazy because
Mhm.
they don't have
Mhm.
well insulation there, and you're
Yeah.
trying to stay warm. And then next thing you know, you're saying, holy cow, how am I going to afford this bill? And you're trying to piece together some work, because sometimes there's slow months in music, not everybody's
Oh,
wanting
yeah.
to go
Oh, yeah.
out. and
Oh, yeah.
and it always comes through. But I think that, anybody that's self-employed or struggling with that, you really have to have faith, because it would be really difficult to just trust that what you're doing
Mhm.
is the
Mhm.
right thing, if you didn't, like, have God to consult that with. And I've so many times been like, is this what you want me to do? I feel
Exactly.
like it is. I feel like, whenever I pray that, then couple days later or a week or two later, someone will come up to me and they'll just say, thank you, you really made my evening, or you
There you go.
saved me.
Yeah.
And that's all you really need to then just keep on going.
Exactly. It's gonna, they'll say, "Yeah, you're doing the right thing." Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. What does you're chasing your dream? You've been doing this for a little bit. Your dream of being in country music, and you're putting out. Man, I love the traditional sound. I love all that. And by the way, all that is coming back. I mean, when you listen to your Zach Tops, when you listen to other artists along those lines, Drake Milligan is another one that likes to do the rockabilly or send it back to some of those days, like Alan Jackson's Chattahoochee. I love that song. And I just think that is the music, and all that is coming back. So, what you're doing with more on the traditional side, of my opinion, I could be wrong. I hope I'm not. But I think it's just going full circle. So, it's
Well,
huge. You're right on
thank
the
you. I
cusp.
sure hope
Yeah.
so. I hope so. I try not to, let that get to me, because I
No,
know there's been lots of people who have been doing it a long time. And just because I have been, doing it ever since I was 2 days old, doesn't mean that I
I
have
love that.
really
Oh my
been
gosh.
doing it since I was 2 days old. And I have to humble myself once in a while too, and
Mhm.
say, there was a day where all I wanted to do was just be able to afford a nice lifestyle through my
Mhm.
music,
Mhm.
and employ a band all summer or all year
Mhm.
just by playing
Mhm.
music.
Mhm.
And you slowly get those. And I think all too often we'll reach a step, and then we just think about the next
Mhm.
step, and we never take a second to look back and be like, wow, I actually was able to do that. So I have
Mhm.
conquered some dreams. If you just take a second and be like, actually, I have made quite a few dreams come true. We just have a whole bunch that are up here still that we're working towards.
You'll get to him. You'll get to
Well,
him.
we're hoping. We're not slowing down, Skip.
It's within your reach. What does it really look for you day to day? What people don't see. What is it really, chasing your dream? What does that look, day by day?
Yeah,
for you?
people ask that, and I mean, man, I feel like I do it all. There's it's always a mix between emails and catching up on text messages and
Mhm, mhm,
social media messages and trying to create content and then make sure that you're posting the content and editing it all. And that takes a bunch of time, let alone like the driving. I just got done with a road trip to Texas and then
mhm,
you're driving all day and you get
mhm,
home and you got to unpack or repack for the next trip. And I'm so fortunate and I love being a wife now, but then that means I have to do laundry and,
mhm.
go to the grocery store or fill orders when they come through. Somebody wants some merch. So then you got to go and fill that or
Yeah,
plan the
yeah.
tour, go book the gigs. It never ends.
It
So
never
every
ends.
day is different. And I usually don't sit down until the end unless I've been doing some emails and stuff. But
But
I like
but
to be busy. So I'm grateful.
I was just gonna say, but you love it.
I do.
You
I
know what
do.
I
I
mean?
I
You love it.
I think it is way too hard and way too much to do if I didn't absolutely love what I do.
Absolutely. You've played so many different kinds of shows. We were talking about the rodeo, the fairs, you've been in listening rooms. What's your favorite environment to play in?
Anywhere where they're listening and they care, that can be five people in a living room, or
Mhm,
it can be one of the most iconic venues like Green Hall or the Bluebird,
mm,
or,
mhm,
any
mhm.
wonderful venues like that. If you have a crowd and you can just feel that you've got them in the palm of your hand and they're listening and they care about the music you're making and they care about your little stories that you're telling and where the music came from, that's all that matters.
You know what bothers me is if I go to see somebody play, whether it's here, Nashville, wherever. When I go and people just continue to talk, they're on their phones. You hear the beep here, beep there, text message, phone rings, people, and the artist is trying to play. And you just want to go, will you shut up and listen?
Yeah,
Dude, that is so
absolutely.
rude. So I hear you. You want people to hear.
Right.
That's
And
what it's about.
I understand. Sometimes people go out,
It's
if I'm
crazy.
playing in a winery or a brewery or, I've played it
Mhm.
all. So then you understand that if somebody is coming to unwind or have dinner or something, of course they're going to be visiting and chatting. And that's not always so bad. It's just, I've played a couple times where they'll have a stage right next to like a children's playground. And then and
Oh
I love
boy.
kids. I love them, but to have them just screaming on and off the
Yeah.
stage and in
Yeah.
front
Yeah.
of you, and it just even gets a little bit hard to be like, why am I here? Or what am I singing? Or like,
Exactly.
what am I
Exactly.
doing here?
Yeah, I look at it, you deserve the respect. That's, what it's about. Give me Olivia, do you have any good road stories? I mean, maybe something that was chaotic, funny, embarrassing. What comes to
Oh
mind
my
when I
gosh,
ask you that?
we've got them all. Let's see. Well, when I was driving to Texas, so for a period of my life, I lived in a travel trailer because right after
Okay.
COVID, the West Coast was all shut down.
Mhm.
Like they were not
Oh,
the
yeah.
first ones to open up, and I decided that I wanted to go to Texas and play music where they were open. And I thought, well, people like honky tonks there, they like
Mhm.
traditional country. Maybe I've got a shot in Texas. So I decided that I would buy a travel trailer and hook it up to my little F-150 pickup, load up my two cow dogs, and off I went driving, out into the middle of nowhere. And I was like, I'm gonna make it to Texas, and I did, and it was a wonderful trip. But on my way back, inevitably, I got a flat tire.
Oh.
And I remember I was out there. I mean, I went through all sorts of weird weather, but I got the tire changed, and then
Mhm.
I got back on the road, and then I hit like a whiteout, and it was another one of those moments where it was like definitely a God thing because I was truly panicking. And when you can't see anything on the road, I'm sure you
Oh,
guys
yeah.
have
Oh,
been
yeah.
up there
Oh,
where
yeah.
it's totally white. And I'm not just being like
No,
a
no.
California girl saying it was
No, I
like
hear you.
snowing lightly, like I couldn't see. And I remember just being like, follow the semi, I can't slow down or get off the road because I would get stuck if I got off the road and I wouldn't be able to get back on or
Mhm.
someone would
Mhm.
see me. And I was really praying my way through it when it started to let up a little bit, and then my mom called. And she's like, I don't know, I just felt like God was tapping me on the
Yeah.
shoulder and telling me that I needed to call you. And after kind of a rough day of the tire and the snow and everything else, I was like, all
Yeah.
right, here I am.
Yeah.
It still didn't
Yeah.
stop me.
Yeah,
even
exactly.
even still, here I am still going
Isn't that
on.
amazing how that works?
It is.
Seriously. That's amazing.
Absolutely.
And mom knew something told her, she goes, I better call Olivia.
Yep.
You
And I
know?
was like, "Mom," the
Oh,
waterworks kick in when you
yeah,
when you hear
yeah,
from
yeah.
mama.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. What's always in your guitar case? Anything good? I mean, besides the guitar,
I
of course.
Well, of course, the guitar. I usually have some old set lists or spare set lists just in case I ever need one of those. Spare strings, spare capo
Mm,
picks. But probably a unique thing is I always keep chapstick in there. I am a
oh, yeah.
big sucker for Burt's Beeswax chapstick,
Good stuff.
and I don't know why that's my brand, but it is, and
It's
so
the
I
best.
always have some of that in there, and maybe some snacks. I,
Gotcha.
you
What's
never
one
know when
thing,
you're gonna
uh
need a snack.
what's one thing you won't travel without?
Oh man, probably it's probably turned into my hat. Honestly, is I used to hate that. I used to hate watching my mom struggle with, a hat and a guitar and her carry on. And
Mhm.
sometimes when you're dog tired and you're getting up at 2 a.m. to catch a flight, you don't want to put a hat on. And so you kind of try to like put it in a bag or
You're trying
something,
to
but then
carry it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you don't want it to get squished. And I used to just be like, Mom, this is such a pain in the rear. Like, why are you bringing this? And now I've gone and turned into my mom, and now I always bring my hat with me anywhere I go for a show.
Well, that's part of you.
It is.
Seriously.
It
The
is.
hat is part of you. And I meet a
And
lot of different country artists that gotta
yes.
have their hat.
Oh, absolutely. And you would be surprised how
Yeah.
many times I go to a sound check and someone will come up to me and they'll be like, are you Olivia? And I'm like, yeah. Oh, I would you just don't look the same. You're not wearing your hat? Like, I don't sleep in it. I have to take it off sometimes.
Oh my god. But see, that's what I mean. That's a part of you. That's how they know you.
It is.
Yeah.
It's
I
turned
mean,
into
yeah.
a whole branding.
Yeah. You obviously have checked off a lot of big milestones, and there's more to come. But what do you think? What's next, and what are you excited about in this next year?
Definitely new music. I'm really
Okay.
excited to get back in the studio and put out my third album. It's been far too long, when I look back and say, "Wow, how's it
Mm.
already been a couple years?" And then just to see what happens. The Road was a wonderful opportunity, and I was so proud to be a part of their very first season, and just to see if that's going to open any more doors or if it'll just be a wonderful memory.
I think the road is pretty awesome. So yeah, it's definitely going to open up some doors for you. I think it's going to keep going. Um, it's pretty cool. So what
Yeah,
is, I want to, I'm just like a lot of going through my mind right now. Um, let's go back to COVID a little bit. How did you said you packed up, you went to Texas to play some gigs, or to look for some gigs and play some gigs and hopefully make a little bit of money to help pay the
yeah,
bills. But how did you get through COVID besides that? I mean, when things shut down, how were you able? I mean, we all have bills to pay. We all have things, along those lines that we need to take care of. And that had to
yeah.
be so hard as an independent artist.
It was definitely tricky. I was really lucky that I kind of saw COVID coming down the pipe, and I was living in Nashville at the time. And so when
Mhm.
I started hearing the buzz that the world was going to shut down and that it wasn't a joke, like people were getting really serious about it, I was
Right.
like, okay, I'm done with this. I'm going to go home to Oregon. So if the world does shut down, I've got 150 acres or whatever that I can run around on and have some clean air and open spaces and be with my family and not just
Mhm.
be all by
Mhm.
myself. And so that's how I spent a good chunk of it. And I really didn't have too much to worry about. I had one
That's
little
good.
house that I kind of had been renting,
Yeah.
but it was $500 a month.
Oh my
So
god.
yeah,
It
it was like this little dump of a house
it
that I
doesn't
kind of
matter.
kept
It's only
in.
500
No,
bucks a month.
I was like, when I'm not here, I don't have to worry. And when I come back to Oregon, I have my own place. I don't have,
I love
not
it.
that I don't love our ranch, but I didn't have to stay
Mhm.
on the place with my parents. And so yeah, it was like a very big blessing. I didn't really have that
Mm.
much expenses that I had to worry about. And I
That's
just kind of
cool.
was like,
God bless you.
I'm
That
gonna go to
that's awesome.
Texas.
That's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. When you're not playing music, what do you like to do?
Well, when I'm not playing music and I'm not ranching and, like
Oh,
helping with the
that's right. I don't
cows
know
and
when you
riding
have time
horses,
to do
and
anything
I
else.
know, I know. I really love cooking.
Okay.
So when I am home, like I took a lot of October off and I got to spend a lot of time home, and
Cool.
I love trying new recipes
Ah,
and just nothing like having a good meal, trying something out, having it turn out good, and then, getting a thumbs up from my husband, like
I was gonna
this is
say,
good. This is a keeper.
what would you say is your husband's favorite meal that you make?
Oh, steak for sure.
Steak,
That's
a
his
good steak.
favorite. Yeah.
Is it
And I mean, I don't
seasoned?
know that
Yeah.
I don't know that I'm making the steak so
No,
much that, but it's kind of his forte. But
that's his thing.
um,
Okay.
yeah, that's his deal is steak for
Mhm.
sure. That would be his favorite, I think,
With the
if I
holidays
was,
coming up too. I mean, of course, we got Thanksgiving right around the corner and all that. Are you hosting? Do you cook a turkey? What are you doing for Thanksgiving? I guess.
Yeah, well, it's my husband's family's turn for Thanksgiving this year, and I was gonna host, but then with like all the
Mhm.
busyness, and his mama decided to that she was gonna host it, and that just worked out perfectly because it would have been a lot to figure out how to come back and then
Be like,
host a huge
fine, yeah,
meal.
you can have it all.
Yeah, yeah, come on. But we're doing the meat because we love cooking, so we're doing a prime
Awesome.
rib and a turkey, and
Oh,
then the sides that go with that, stuffing and gravy. So
awesome.
it'll be fun. We'll just spend the day in the kitchen.
Yeah, that's awesome. And the pies?
And I'm not doing the pies. I do love making pies, but this year, Mama Pitter is taking care of
I
that, and
love
it's
that.
not on my plate.
Well, I wish you a great Thanksgiving. So, and
Well,
the rest of the
thank you.
holidays that are coming up. If somebody wanted to follow you, how can they get a hold of you? Where can they look up your music? Where can they buy your merch? I mean, it's really important that the viewers or the listeners go out and buy the merch because it supports the artist. So, I mean, where can they do all that?
All the good stuff. Social media, it's all Olivia Harms music. So if you want
Okay.
to follow along, see where I'm going, see how cute my dogs are, or
Yeah.
my check out what my day-to-day life is. That's all social media for you. And if you wanted to see tour dates or grab some swag, just go to oliviaharms.com. I try not to make it too tricky. I want everybody to be able to find me.
I love it. I'm going to ask you a really crazy question.
Okay, love it.
All right. When was the last time you got really mad? And what was it about?
Oh man, last time I got really mad. I try to stay pretty even keel, but I think the last time that I might have been shooting daggers through my eyes is I was playing a gig in September, and it was like just me and my guitar, and I was home locally, and I was playing, and this guy came up to me while I was on break, and I had been dealing with a lot of really cute little girls and signing
Mhm.
autographs for them, and he just kept interrupting and interrupting, and finally I was like, "Okay, hang on, girl. What is it that this guy would like?" And so I was chatting with him, and all he wanted to do was tell me how the band the night before was so much better than me, and
Oh,
that I have a lot to learn from them, and it's probably my dream to be like them. And all the while, I kept thinking, he doesn't know I'm going to be on a TV show, and that's not his fault. And maybe he's had a really hard day. I'm
mhm,
trying so
mhm.
hard to not, but I just like finally was like, you know what? If you don't like my music, you can leave. You do not have to stay. And
Exactly. And you were nice about it, though. I would
I
have
was
said, get
nice,
that,
but
you know what, out of here.
oh man, he just kept going on, and he
That's
wouldn't let me go either.
so
And I was
rude.
like, all right, we're done here. And
Mhm.
so I think by the end, I probably had a little bit of fume rolling out. I tried to hold it together pretty good, but that
You
one
got to
kept
do
me
what you got
fired
to
up for
do.
a while.
Yeah, you got to smile and wave sometimes, but it's got to be so hard. I don't know how you do it. I
I
see
I
that
keep it
happen a
all
lot.
up here, and then the folks close to me get my true emotions and my what I really wanted to say at the end of the day.
I love this. Olivia, this has been incredible. It's just exciting to get to know you a little bit. I've heard about you. I know who your mom is. Um, it's just exciting to have you on. I know you being on the road and all that, the television show.
Yes.
How very cool is that? Your story, your drive, your honesty, it all shines through. And it's
Well, thank
exactly
you.
why we love having artists like you on Skip Happens. And sometimes
Well,
Skip happens, sometimes it doesn't. Tonight went pretty smooth. So that's, I don't know, it's what I
we
call it.
skipped right along.
We skipped right along. I love it. I love it. And, everybody that's listening or everybody that's watching this, whether it's now or later on, go follow Olivia on all her socials, stream the music, support the shows. She's the real deal, as you've seen here tonight on Skip Happens. She is the real deal. And Olivia, I want to say thank you for taking very close to an hour of your time to hang out with us here tonight. And, have a great holiday season. I really hope to meet you sometime. I mean, I go to Nashville a couple times a year, especially for CRS. I'm always there for that. Done that for the last 20 some odd years. But that's the place to go and meet a lot of, if you really want to network for whatever purpose. I mean, whether it's radio or labels, that's the place you need to be. And that's coming up in March. So
Well, we'll make
that's
it
good.
happen this year, and I'll
We'll
get to
see.
meet you in person.
That would be awesome. Just look for the I actually have a bar stool and bar lines, which is in the Omni. It's got my
Okay,
name on the back of it.
perfect.
No, I'm just kidding. But as always, thank you. Thank you so much for doing this tonight. And always thank you to you for watching and listening. And of course, my name is Skip Clark. This is Skip Happens. And can catch us up. You can catch up with us weekly right here. So make sure you subscribe and do all the good stuff. But Olivia, I want to say thank you for joining us here tonight. It's just a pleasure to talk to you.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Skip. I hope you have a blessed holiday season.